Here I am in Nottingham with the great Mitch Malloy, who is giving an exclusive interview. Mitch, please tell us about the early days of your career. I mean, prior to your first big record. I mean, like the Infinity Days and the Malloy '88. Please.
Those were, frustrating times and great times. I was constantly trying to get my career going, and I wasn't really sure on how to do it, and just working really hard, trying to become a better songwriter and always a better singer and a better performer. And the Infinity thing was actually kind of a big break for me. I thought it didn't end up being a big break, but I thought it was, because I had been singing in the clubs, and I was sort of discovered by David Rosenthal, who was already kind of a rock star. David was in Rainbow, and he'd played with a bunch of people after Rainbow, and he was looking to form his own band, and he chose me to be the singer of that band. So then we formed a partnership, David and I, and we did some good stuff, and Infinity is the result of that, and unfortunately nothing ever happened with it, and I went on to be Mitch Malloy from there, but that was great. And the Malloy '88 was just after David. I went on to form my own band, because the Infinity thing wasn't going to happen. It doesn't look like it was going to happen, and I had a Loud and Proud management that wanted to manage me, and they said, form a band around you, and we'll call it Malloy, and let's go. And they managed White Lion at the time. They were very successful, and they also had Taiketo, who did not yet have a deal, just like me. So Taiketo and I were both trying to get deals and doing really well in the club circuit. We had the best management in New York. Loud and Proud was the best management in New York, and so we both eventually did get deals. And so that brings us right to the first album.
Can you talk about that? The first big album, and Ceilings and Walls.
The first big album, and the debut and Ceilings and Walls.
Yeah.
So the debut was kind of also a changing of gears, because I had the Malloy band, and everything was changing with the kind of the hair bands. The hair bands were going away. The market was changing. The label didn't want me to be a hair band. They didn't want Malloy. They signed Mitch Malloy, right?
Yes.
Solo artist. So that's what they were interested in. They weren't interested in the band thing. So unfortunately, the band thing kind of fell by the wayside, and we took a different approach, which was fine with me, because I'm a huge fan of Bryan Adams, and that was part of my roadmap to the first album. And plus, I really just kind of was trying to forge my own ground as well with that album. I was just trying to be the best solo artist I could be with that album, and trying to craft and create my own sound, and take from my influences that I loved so much, but also do my own thing with it. And I'm really proud of that record. It's funny, because the people that really love that record really love that record. So
True.
so I think I really achieved my goal. The label perhaps didn't achieve their goal, or ultimately my goal, by making a massive, platinum success. But we sold a lot of records, and I think I made a really strong record that I'm really proud of.
Okay, what about Ceilings and Walls?
Right. So, because the label didn't make a platinum sale, they didn't make platinum sales, they wanted me to change direction, because they felt with the whole scene with the Nirvana and Pearl Jam, everything kind of taking over rock, that I either had to do that, or I had to go in a more adult direction. And I said, I cannot be really something that I'm not, so I'm not, Kurt Cobain.
Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt Cobain is Kurt Cobain. I am not that guy. What I do is what I do. And so, you know, they said, well, you got to do one or the other. So it made sense to kind of dial the guitars back a little bit and go in a smoother, more adult kind of direction. And I tried to do it in the coolest way I could by getting an English producer who had a little different slant on things. And, you know, I think the Ceilings and Walls record is a really good record for what it is. It's just not the follow-up to the debut.
Okay.
Which was surprising and shocking to a lot of fans, unfortunately.
What can you say about the Shine album and the country demos?
The Shine record, you know, I moved to Nashville and I was writing country songs. And I was really trying to make my way as a country songwriter because that's a very gratifying business. And songwriting for me is very important, and I take it very seriously. To me, that's a serious art. Writing songs is a serious art. And a lot of the country songwriters at the time, the good ones, I really looked up to. And they were writing songs that I thought were fantastic. So for me, it was a goal to become one of them. And I got to write with a lot of them. And I think I wrote some really good stuff, but then when the Shine thing came up, it was like, okay, well now I have to make a rock record, but I've been writing all these country songs. So my head was still in country, but I was trying to make a rock record. So for me, the Shine record is a really good record, but it doesn't rock like I wanted it to, and that's also partly because of the budget. I didn't have any money, and at the time, the technology in the studio hadn't come to where it's at now. So I couldn't afford to make a debut, a follow-up to the debut. Because the debut cost $400,000, right? I couldn't, there's no way I could afford to do that.
Sure.
And you couldn't physically do it. You could, now you can. Hence, I have Mitch Malloy too, because now I can. But then you couldn't. So the Shine record is a little bit, you know, I'm really proud of it. People love it. There's some really good songs on it, but it sonically doesn't sound like the debut.
All right. What about the new album?
The new album does sound like the debut, and that's because my studio has come a long way, and my studio craft has come a long way. My engineering, my mixing, my producing have come a long way, and I'm really proud of that because I worked really hard on that. And you know, I co-produced and mixed a Taylor Swift record last year, and I've worked with what's their name? Blanking on their name. Huge country act. Lady Antebellum.
Okay.
Huge. Worked with them. Kenny Loggins. Worked with Chad Kroeger from Nickelback. I've worked with a lot of people as a producer or mixer, right? And really cultivated that craft, because that's a whole nother movie. That's a whole nother craft. And so when all things aligned, the songwriting is honed and at a certain level, and the mixing is honed and at a certain level, and the production is honed and at a certain level, and then it's time for Mitch Malloy 2, because I'm finally to the point where I can follow up the first record, right? I mean, really, that's kind of how I feel about it, and that's why I called it 2, because it's really the first time I was able to do it. You know, you can't do it without a lot of money, but now you can.
Is it your favorite album you've ever done?
Mitch Malloy 2 record?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my favorite record. There's still things that I think are great about the first album that I love, but I think all in all, as a complete album, from the first note to the last note, yes, I think it's the best I've ever done.
Okay.
Yeah.
What can you say about your last year's performance at Firefest and these years?
Well, the last time I did Firefest, it was kind of a unique situation where I was supposed to have an English mostly English band, and I was bringing my co-producer, bass player Victor Broden, who is like my security blanket. Victor is a genius. He's absolute genius, musical genius, and I lean on him heavily. And so if I'm bringing him with me, I don't worry, because I have Victor. And I know Victor will take care of anything I can't take care of, because he knows what to do. He knows what everybody else should do, and he'll tell them. So that situation, I had Victor. And so I knew it would be okay because I had Victor. And it was okay. It was good. I mean, I had Tommy Denander on guitar and Magnus Olmsted on drums. And, you know, those guys kind of bailed me out because I didn't have a band. And, you know, I'm proud of the DVD. I think it's good.
It's great.
Yeah, I worked hard on that mix as well. I mixed that. So I worked hard to make it sound like that. And I'm proud of that. But, you know, this time I had a situation where I had 5 different bands that wanted to back me up tonight for Firefest. I had a Swedish band, I had a German band, an English band, and I had 2 Italian bands. And I chose Mario because it was just a gut feeling that I should go with Mario and Alessandro, and I think I was right, because not only did they do a great job backing me up, but I love them. They are absolute fantastic human beings.
Cool.
It's such a pleasure to be around them. So, you know, it's not always just about the music. Your time on stage is short. So if you're not enjoying your company with the people that you're with, you're in trouble.
Yeah. And
with them, I couldn't be happier. I feel so blessed to have them as friends, and like they're like my family. Like I said on stage tonight, they're my new family.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are your plans for the future?
My plans are to promote this record as much as I can. I want to play everywhere and anywhere. I want to play everywhere that'll have me, that makes sense. I want to go all over the world. I want to do everything I can, honestly. You know, if I have to go play in a country and I have to use the band from that country, if I have to do that, I'll do it, because I think that I'm extremely underexposed as an artist. And it's my fault, because I've spent a lot of time writing songs and engineering. You know, I haven't been out here doing it. And I made a real conscious effort this year to say, okay, I'm going to do this record, and I want to go out and I want to play everywhere I can. So that's my goal.
Okay. And what are your plans? No, I have already asked that. Do you have any last words for the readers?
My last words, now this is for Brazil?
For Brazil,
worldwide?
for the US, for Italy, like everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm really thankful that people care about my music, you know. I mean, because my music is my life. It means everything to me. And you know, kind of, I hate to be negative, but I'm a little bit one-dimensional in that way. I'm very focused on my music, and I can't help it. I was just born that way. I was just born a musical being, and my music means everything to me. So if it means anything to anyone else, it makes me so happy. I appreciate all the fans so much. Tonight was an amazing experience for me. So many fans that just truly have been affected by my music, and they have my music in their life, and that's the most important thing for an artist. If you are in somebody's life, you really have made some kind of impact or effect on their life. It's everything.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mitch.
Thank you.
Okay. That was great.
Great.